Another victory for the people of Britannia as another council in Essex decided to block Sadiq Khan's obsession with net zero ULEZ policy. The ultra low emission zones become a bit of a headache now for City Hall and Sadiq Khan. He thought he could just basically pass it through and enforce it without any scrutiny, but it's got some issues because people are waking up across the Greater London. And this ULEZ nonsense is also affecting other places, not really just London-centric. We've got Bristol, we've got Birmingham's own version, the clean air zones and everything else. This is going to be the definition of Sadiq Khan's idiocy when it comes to his mayorship. Like, ever since he became mayor, he got away with a lot of nonsense because the mainstream media were completely ignoring or turning a blind eye on his misleading arguments or his lies, or essentially, or his corruption, or when he lost money somehow, the money went missing from Transport for London. He had to go beg central government for that. He promised London that we're not going to have any strikes as long as he's mayor. We've had more strikes in London than ever before. Now, his obsession with ULEZ. Now, this policy that was supposed to be helping the air pollution has created even more problems, even those places that has been already implemented. The expansion of ULEZ is completely nonsensical because it doesn't really mean it's a zone. It's the whole of Greater London. We're basically going to turn London into the ultra low emission city. Luckily, it's now been blocked by a number of councils. Even Downing Street are going to be on a wider level block it, which is good. But at the same time, never say never, because these people always find a way to win, always find a way to find a workaround and do a similar policy, but differently, maybe even change the name. For now, let's celebrate. Why? Because of Brentwood. Brentwood Borough Council have been in East London, Greater London and Essex, have been very robust on this issue, and they've decided to say enough is enough, and they are not going to be complying with the Mayor of London. If they had allowed this to happen, this move, the ULEZ expansion in Brentwood and that side of London, would have actually affected not just that area, but Barking, Ilford, Romford, Hornchurch and Rainham. Like, it's not really that simple when it comes to one local area or a group of people in the community completely complaining because they've decided they thought they're going to be smart, the City Hall. And if they do on a wider level and blanket policy, it will be much harder for boroughs or all these local councils to oppose it. They didn't really expect some of these local councils, because of pressure from the public and the local residents, to actually get together and for once unite on an issue. So it doesn't really matter if it's just going to be all the areas. They're all getting together to oppose it, which is very, very smart. And it's completely exposing the problem of centralizing powers in City Hall, because people thought that this is some sort of devolution. We're going to give more power to a mayor of London in general as a role, but it's completely exposed the problem of it's not really decentralization. You're creating a secondary centralized powers it's the same thing in Scotland or Wales, now in City Hall. Now, this is Councillor Keith Barber, a Conservative councillor who's led this movement, saying, "This proposal will impact many residential drivers and small businesses who cannot afford to upgrade their vehicles in the timeline planned by the Mayor of London. We all want to see air quality improve over time, and the government has already set ambitious targets to switch to electric cars over the coming years." But this is truly a sledgehammer to crack a nut that will have perverse outcomes for many Brentwood residents. It is unfair. It's a very unfair proposal, and is a blatant tax grab by the London mayor. Yeah, let's not forget the whole thing is a cash cow scheme for people like Sadiq Khan and the establishment in general, because it applies to the authorities in Bristol, in Birmingham, and other places as well. The problem with this is that when they run out of money, they think that they can overtax the public. Part of it is about money generation for these governments or local governments or regional governments. Part of it is about public control to make sure that they can get people to comply on anything that they propose going forward. Control and money. It always goes back to that. And it's completely undermining the wider net zero agenda. So they are the ones themselves in the establishment who are destroying their own net zero targets by coming up with this nonsensical idiocy. Because we don't even have to go out there and completely oppose the crazy extreme net zero targets. Every single time they come up with a measure like this, people are going to see the real side, the dark side of what could happen if you allow the ultra net zero targets and measures to be implemented. How many people will suffer short term, medium term, and long term? Anyway, we will keep you guys posted. We're going to keep you guys and happy on all these tiny victories and wins that we have on a regular basis. This channel will report what the mainstream media fail to report. I'm Mahyar, Tousi, and we are the media.